Hello again. This is a video I've been looking forward to sharing for a while, and well, in many ways is the primary reason for me deciding to share these, to start doing a video in the first place, because I thought lockdown means I've been robbed of my usual partner in crime, Steve Hall, the man that I usually make beautiful music with. So one thing it has given me the opportunity to do is play, is practice, because well, A, I've not had him around, but B, I haven't had anybody else around or anything else to do, so it's enabled me to concentrate on these videos and on my playing. And I actually found, after the first few weeks, I found that studying wasn't working for me. My brain's obviously taken a different turn, so it's good to have different things for different periods, I find. One thing I will say, it's always easier, in my opinion, to sing with somebody else playing. I'm very grateful to, have received this opportunity, because it's encouraged me to plough on and pursue doing music on my own as well. For my own enjoyment or anybody else's, when I'm able to, but it's still multitasking. Practice helps. There's no two ways around it. No two ways about it. Practice does help a lot. I find that just by practicing the same chord patterns over and over again, they stick in my head, whereas looking at them or listening to somebody else playing, they don't really. I do find I'm able to work them out quite well on my own, but maybe it's because I've chosen such simple songs with chords I know. But I mean, just follow him there down the avenue, find a party fit for him and you in no time. Now the night is due to go ridiculous, right on through to pure sublime. There's a good chance that you'll see or do things, wide-eyed, yellow, green and blue things off the cuff. And just to raise the stakes here higher, it'll serve you to inspire. You've narrowed again, will feel it wasn't enough. Yeah, stumbled over my words a bit there. That happens. But what I was trying to point out was, I remembered that from having written the tune a few weeks ago, which seems to me astonishing when I can't remember whether I brushed my teeth earlier or not, or whether somebody's just given me a meal, or if that was yesterday. It's strange, but I find that really good. And also I find chord charts, if you look up chord charts, you can, I think that's what they're called, but it's basically a picture of a chord, and I find that a much easier way to read music. I do want to get back in the habit of making myself up song sheets with chord charts on them, because that undoubtedly works better when my symptoms are doing different things. When you're playing, your hand issues must be well controlled. You can see at the moment my spasms aren't incredibly great. I am twitching about and so forth, but I can't have bad spasms in my hands and arms, because they just won't do what I want. Different capo shapes, I find. I've got two different capos here. You can see that they're different in shape, slightly, and different in size, and I find sometimes one will work better than the other depending on what my issues are at the time. So I can experiment with them. Where I should have had the capo on that last time, I was a bit gravelly there. Also, I mean, I think one thing is experiment with different hand shapes. Your hand shapes are going to depend on the position of your body, what you're planning to do. I find I got in a bad habit, especially when the capo's on. So I must admit, although I didn't do it deliberately just then when I sang, if I can possibly play without a capo, I will, because I do find them ever so difficult to get my hands around. There's no question. And I can't play for very long, generally speaking. And yeah, I've got a really bad habit of bending my wrist over too badly. And I mean, I'm quite a flexible person, but I'm doing that to try and make up for the capo. Don't do that. That really hurts. It's really not good, and you won't be able to play for long like that because it does really hurt. So experiment with, you can see, I don't know if you can see there, but in that position, my hand is quite, my hand is sort of 90 degrees to it's flat against the side of the ukulele. Whereas like that, my palm is kind of flat to the ukulele and grasping round like that. So you can see there's different ways to position your actual body as well. I'm lucky in that I'm quite flexible. I'm not, I can't stand for very long at all, and but I am very bendy from all them years of yoga. I suspect I'm double jointed. But experiment with your, excuse me, I'm making a horlicks of my notes here, unsurprisingly. Experiment with the position it's in. Sometimes I'll rest so that my arm is supported on my, you can't see here, but it's supported on my thigh. My forearm is supported on my thigh, and my hand's bending over, so that the ukulele is essentially facing the ceiling. Maybe other people play that like that. I've never seen anyone play like that, but adapt. Just if you're making the right noises out of it, who cares what it looks like, what you're doing? Go for comfort. And because my arms get tired so quickly, and I find it very difficult holding my arms up for any length of time. That's a big, well, lifting my arms is a problem anyway, I find, weirdly. But yeah, absolutely. If it's making the right noise, don't worry about it. It's like I say, I'm not expecting don't ask for perfection. You don't need to. I personally, I'll often support the uke on my belly like this as well. That's another one where it's flat up, and that I find brilliant because I can keep my elbow on the flat surface. So that's another one. Or supporting my left arm on a pillow is another that I do. So far I stick to strumming rather than finger picking. I can't imagine really having the dexterity to finger pick, but I must admit I blooming love finger picking, so I'll be trying at some point, so watch this space. But I'm just happy to be making the right noises at the moment. Another thing to bear in mind, try an instrument you played when you were younger, because I bought a recorder. In fact, I've got a larger recorder that I was given that I can't stretch my fingers quite big enough yet for, but I'd like to. It's a nice noise. But I bought a soprano recorder that I had when I was a child, like when I had when I was a child. In fact, no, it was bought for me, so thank you. But I found I've not picked it up since I was single figures, and yet I can play 3 or 4 tunes without batting an eyelid flawlessly from picking it up. So it's, it reminds me of what things that you hear about things like Alzheimer's in that respect, remembering things from your younger years. Right, on to the singing. I have big problems remembering words. I'm finding with the uke, I'm remembering tunes way easier than words, which is very interesting to me. I always have the lyrics on a tablet in front of me, or a written chord chart or something, or I need them in front of me. Another problem I have, and this is the biggest problem, by far for me. I forget what I just sang because my short-term memory is so compromised. Or my concentration rather, I forget what I just sang. So, I mean, when I record a video playing a song, some of them I'll record it nearly 100 times. And it's not because I'm being a perfectionist, but because I will have made a really big error, like completely forgotten the tune in the middle, or thought I've sang the same thing twice. That's a problem when I've performed in front of people as well. So again, I also find on my song sheets, it's helpful if I use a highlighter for different sentences to try and differentiate them and nudge my brain and say, you've already sang that, you know, move on. If my attention's very bad, I also sometimes have pay attention. Well, it's a bit ruder than that actually what it says, but it's to me anyway. Just in big letters next to the tablet, just to try and, you know, hold my attention. One thing I've learnt from my singing teacher: if your throat's hurting, you're doing it wrong. You're not meant to be singing with your throat. You sing through it. So relax it. I've benefited massively from singing lessons if you know, if you can afford them and are interested in the singing element. I've benefited a lot. My singing teacher, who can be found, is on voicelesson.com, Mark Baxter. The thing I like about him is he understands a lot about the biology of singing and is able to, he doesn't bat an eyelid when he keeps asking me to count to 8, and for the first 5 times I count to 12 anyway. But he's also very good at relating the issues I have to my symptoms, and for me that's a very good way to I'd find doing scales all the time boring. We still do exercises and that's great, but and also he's not afraid of making himself look daft, and I think that's great because it makes you more willing to go out on a limb, and you're always going to be a better performer if you're less shy. You know, I'm not a natural, I'm a social butterfly, but I'm not an extrovert by any stretch of the imagination. Remember that your symptoms are not the whole reason that you'll make a mistake. You would always have made mistakes. People without issues make mistakes. That's, you know, imperfections and mistakes are part of what makes live music brilliant, in my opinion. Don't ever be ashamed of that. Be proud of what you are achieving. Goodness. Keep a drink handy. If you're singing, you'll get a dry mouth. If you vape cannabis like I do, you'll also get a dry mouth, so I have to keep one handy anyway. One thing Mark taught me is put your pinky finger and it'll release some, it'll get the saliva running. So, and I've found out accidentally that biting your tongue does the same thing, but I don't recommend that, hurts. You can get singer's lozenges that are quite expensive. I did try them. I also looked at the ingredients, and if you're not vegan, they're very similar ingredients to honey lockets. So I actually buy them if I'm trying to give my voice a bit of extra TLC. Avoiding dairy and acidic foods can really help the health of your voice. I spray with glycerin tincture made with marshmallow root, because marshmallow root's supposed to be very good for you, for that area, or sometimes rose water with glycerin to keep hydrated there, because the glycerin attracts moisture. I've never read that that's recommended anywhere. That's just what I do. Don't even know if it helps. I like stage fright videos. If I'm going to be performing in front of people, I don't get very nervous, luckily, but there's a couple of videos that I really like to watch. One by Mark Baxter and one by Adrienne somebody. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and tune in next time. Thank you for watching.